Ward has taken from us a fifth-generation Marine. And I've asked him to come and give a little insight into what Gold Star families are about, and he has some words for us. So, Mr. Ward, podium is yours, sir.
I didn't know what it was that I would be standing here, that I had done, that I would be honored to be in front of you. My first experience with Vietnam, my father, and I was 8.5 years old, came home one night and he told me that he was going to be leaving for a while. He was going to Vietnam. I didn't understand anything about the war then. I didn't understand anything about what was going on. I was being an 8-year-old kid. For that better part of the year, I laid on the living room floor watching TV because the coverage was at all times high. We could see everything that was going on. My mom came down, my Marine mom, yelled at me and told me to stop watching that stuff. It wasn't good for me. I said I wasn't watching the war. I was waiting to see if my dad was going to be on TV. Years later, I did make a personal decision to join the Marine Corps. I went in at 79. I knew that being a fourth-generation Marine would come with its pluses and minuses, but I wanted to give back as well. Through that time, you folks, believe it or not, have probably been the biggest mentors of my life. My diversity at the beginning going in the Marines, my master sergeant, he took me under his wing, couldn't understand why, and finally asked him, Gutley, and he looked at me and he said, because your mom keeps calling you every few months, and I told her I'd keep an eye out for you. With a few explicit words. I said, that'll be fine, I'll deal with my mom later. And he goes, and I'm going to teach you a little respect today. And he took me out. He was a 2-time Vietnam tour. He took me out to the beach with a shovel and says, I told your mom I'd also teach you a few lessons. And I found myself digging a 6x6x6 foot hole. He came out and said, what a great job, and I'll fill it back in. Needless to say, I'm 6 feet tall, so I was inside that hole. I had to discover a way to get out. Journeyed on, another Vietnam veteran mentored me. I was part of the Fuji fire in Camp Fuji, Japan in '79, and we evacuated 43 Marines and sailors that day. At the time, it was the worst peacekeeping incident that had ever happened, and I had been asked if I would want to join the fire department. I had a lot of reservations. My boss was pretty adamant, though. He was the chief at the time, and he too mentored me to overcome my fear for that. And I did journey to be a firefighter and top of my class, and then I turned around and was firefighter of the year a couple years later. Fast forwarding, 9/11 came. I happened to be standing in front of the TV in the kitchen when I was getting my kids off to school, and I just saw the replay of the first tower and the live version of the second tower, and my 12-year-old son was standing next to me. That's Corporal Eric Ward, who we became. He looked right at me and said, Dad, are you going to go back in the Marines and fight those people? I said, no, I've gotten too old. They won't let me back. Well, he said, then I'm going to go. He stayed dedicated for the next 5 years. He was determined he was going to be a Marine. He was assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marine Division in 2nd Battalion, 2nd Regiment, 2nd Marine Division in Camp Lejeune. And I got the call in 2008 that they were going to be deployed. So he went through all the training, everything that was needed to be, and they left at the end of 2009. I had pretty much talked to Eric almost every Sunday at 4 o'clock. I made a personal mission to stand there by the phone waiting for it to ring and see the code 00863 or something, knowing it was foreign. One day that call didn't come. I waited. I went down in the basement, kept the portable phone with me, and waited and waited. My wife at the time came downstairs and said, there's a bunch of men here in suits and they want to talk to you. I just said, tell them to go away. I'm waiting for Eric to call. It turned out to be 4 Marines. I'm not talking about that. More?
Yeah, they can't hear you. I'm so sorry. they really can't hear in the back. I don't know if it's.
Then I'll use my Marine voice, how's
Please
that?
do.
I did get the bad news that day that Eric had fallen to an IED. They were on a special security mission and they got trapped in a sandstorm, and he and his A-gunner got permission to go into a watershed. Pretty much the enemy laid a 40-pound bomb in there, enough to kill the whole platoon, and just 2 Marines were taken. That journey became a long journey for me. I kind of took it for granted that being a 5th generation Marine, we've all come home. My family goes back to 1917 as a Marine, and I just took it a lot harder than I probably should have at the time, but it really sunk me. Eric was a really good kid. He was a generous kid, especially with my money. He had a great attitude and a great spirit. I made a point to get on a plane and fly to North Carolina to go meet his squad. I literally showed up at their base with my white t-shirt, my boxer shorts, and my flip-flops, shower shoes that they call Marines. And when they least expected it, I locked myself behind the door and made them sit down with me and tell me everything that they knew about him and how they felt about him. He was a great brother. They loved him very much. He had a great following. I later met a new counselor. He was also a Vietnam veteran and a Gold Star father. If it wasn't for him, as well as all the other Vietnam vets, I don't know how far I would have made it. He spent many years talking to me, coaching me, making me reflect that Eric's life wasn't taken in vain. It was taken as a hero. And that made me make some decisions. Hence, I'm here in Northern Nevada. Another Vietnam veteran who's changed my life. Because I got here, I was kind of alone, not sure what I was going to do. I'm stuck in a little town out in Yerington. Not a lot of friends, not a lot of family. And the second day I was here, I met Tony Yarbrough, VFW. He came to get donations from the hotel that I work at, but I think God had a different mission because Tony saw something in me and he pushed me out the door, brought me to a veterans dinner here in town. It was a beautiful fundraiser, and that particular dinner changed my life. Since being here, I've joined Honor Flight. We have formed a Gold Star family, not a very large group, but a very close group. We love each other very much. We're in contact all the time. We do events with Honor Flight. We do events with Vietnam veterans. We're tight, and I don't think I would have made it that much longer here without them and without my Honor Flight family. Some of the best people I've ever met in my life are even sitting in this room. I love them and appreciate them very much. Eric is in my memory every single day. There isn't a day I don't think about him. There isn't a day I don't think about his brothers, because I know some of the others that were taken, and I stay in contact with the ones that he served with that are still here. And jokingly, 2 of those Marines actually married 2 of Eric's ex-girlfriends from high school. So it became a pretty instant family for me. I am honored to be here. Growing up and having Vietnam veterans be my mentors and serve with me over the years has defined me as a person, has defined me as a man. And I think with your guidance and your leadership and your support for myself and for my Gold Star families here, because you're here all the time. You're at our ceremonies. You've been on trips with the Gold Stars. You've been to our tree lighting ceremony. You've done some wonderful stuff for us, and you've always had our back, and you've always showed your love and devotion to us, and we're ever so grateful. And I did ask Gold Stars and tell them I was going to say this. We are absolutely indebted to you for your love and your support. It gives us a lot of strength. We spend a lot of time together so we can share each other's stories and visit each other's memorials of our fallen. And it does mean a lot to us, and they wanted me to send their love. They deeply do appreciate you. And if anybody ever asks me what the greatest generation is, I say it's the Vietnam generation, because without you, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So from all of us and myself, I want to welcome you home. Thank you.